Welcome to another deep dive, everyone. Today we're taking you on a journey to uncover the mystery surrounding a figure named Joanna de Ângelis. Now, she's not someone you'd typically find in a history book. Our exploration starts with an excerpt from a Portuguese Wikipedia entry, and believe me, this isn't your typical Wikipedia rabbit hole. Joanna de Ângelis, according to Spiritism, is a spirit guide who communicates through a Brazilian medium named Divaldo Franco. This means our dive involves the fascinating world of Spiritism, a belief system where the spirit world is considered an active presence in our lives. And within Spiritism, Divaldo Franco is a pretty prominent figure. He's dedicated his life to mediumship, acting as a bridge between this world and the spirit realm. So how does Joanna de Ângelis fit into all of this? Well, she's believed to communicate through Divaldo Franco using a method called psychography. Essentially, he enters a trance-like state and writes down the messages she imparts. Imagine for a moment it's December 5th, 1945. Divaldo Franco experiences this initial contact, this sudden influx of profound insights from a spirit friend, as he described it. The spirit friend eventually reveals herself as Joanna de Ângelis, and what unfolds is a story that interweaves the spirit world, philosophy, and even psychology.
You see, psychography is fascinating because it's not just about receiving messages, but also about the very act of writing. Spiritists believe that spirits can influence the physical world in subtle ways, and psychography, in this case, is seen as a manifestation of Joanna de Angelis's energy working through Divaldo.
And these aren't just fleeting messages. We're talking about a vast body of work attributed to Joanna de Ângelis, dozens of books encompassing philosophy, religion, psychology, and, of course, spirituality. It's incredible to think that through Divaldo Franco, this outpouring of knowledge has reached people globally. And one of the most intriguing aspects of this collection is the Series Psychologica, or Psychological series, which is a set of 16 books that delve into the intersection of Spiritist doctrine and modern psychology.
It's here that we see a bridge between what some might consider mystical or spiritual and the realm of modern psychological thought. The Series Psychologica, for instance, explores concepts like Jungian and transpersonal psychology, but through the lens of Spiritist beliefs.
That's fascinating. It's like she's taking these established psychological frameworks and then presenting them with a unique spiritual perspective.
Precisely. For example, one of the core tenets of Spiritism is the concept of reincarnation. Joanna de Ângelis, according to messages received by Divaldo, is believed to have lived multiple lives, and not just any lives, but lives as recognizable historical figures.
Wait, are we talking about real historical figures? Who are we talking about here?
We are. According to Divaldo Franco, Joanna de Ângelis has been revealed as Joanna de Cusa, a follower of Jesus who was allegedly martyred for her faith.
Oh, wow.
Saint Clare of Assisi, the 13th century founder of the Order of Poor Clares.
Right.
So Juana Inés de la Cruz, the brilliant 17th century Mexican poet, and nun, and finally Joana Angelica de Jesus, a Brazilian nun who met a tragic end during the fight for Brazil's independence. It's a lot to take in, right? But remember, reincarnation within Spiritism isn't about a soul simply inhabiting different bodies throughout history. It's about a continual process of spiritual growth and evolution. Each lifetime, according to this belief, presents opportunities to learn, evolve, and ultimately progress towards a higher spiritual plane.
So these historical figures, if we're following this line of thought, aren't just random figures from the past. They represent different stages in a much larger interconnected spiritual journey for Joanna de Ângelis.
Exactly. And this is where things get really interesting. Think about the lives of these women. St. Clare, for instance, dedicated herself to a life of poverty and service, challenging the social norms of her time. So Juana Inés de la Cruz, a woman of immense intellect and creativity, used her writing to challenge the limitations placed on women in 17th century Mexico. And Joana Angelica de Jesus, a symbol of courage and resistance, met a tragic end defending her convent during a pivotal moment in Brazil's fight for independence.
These are women who lived extraordinary lives, each pushing boundaries and leaving their mark on history.
They did. And when we look at them through the lens of reincarnation as understood within Spiritism, we begin to see a potential thread connecting their stories. Could it be, as Divaldo Franco's interpretation suggests, that these figures represent different facets of a shared spiritual journey?
It's a fascinating proposition, isn't it? And I imagine for someone unfamiliar with Spiritism, it might seem like a giant leap to connect these historical figures with a present-day spirit guide communicating through a Brazilian medium.
Absolutely. And it's perfectly natural to approach such claims with a healthy dose of skepticism. But I think it's also important to remember that Spiritism, like many spiritual traditions, asks us to expand our understanding of reality. It challenges us to consider the possibility of a spiritual realm that exists beyond our immediate perception.
So it's not necessarily about accepting everything at face value, but rather about engaging with these concepts with an open mind.
Precisely. And even if we set aside the question of whether or not these historical figures were past lives of Joanna de Ângelis, there's still a lot we can glean from exploring their lives and legacies. They serve as reminders that courage, compassion, and the pursuit of knowledge are timeless virtues.
It makes you wonder, what wisdom might Joanna de Ângelis, the spirit guide who claims to have walked in their shoes, have to offer us today? What insights might she share from her alleged experiences across different lifetimes and realms of existence?
Well, for one, there's a reason we're drawn to deep dives like this. We're naturally curious about the mysteries of life, death, and what lies beyond. And within the vast body of work attributed to Joanna de Ângelis, we find explorations of these very questions.
From what I understand, her books delve into themes of self-discovery, navigating challenges, the power of love and forgiveness, ideas that resonate deeply with the human experience, regardless of one's spiritual background.
You're exactly right. In her series Psychologica, for example, we find titles like Jesus and Actuality, The Integral Man, and Auto-Discovery. An inner search, all hinting at a desire to understand the human condition within a spiritual context.
Conflicts Existentius, Psychology of Gratitude. These titles also suggest a focus on navigating the complexities of human existence, but through a lens of spiritual growth and self-awareness.
And that's what makes exploring Joanna de Ângelis' work so compelling. Even if we approach it from a purely philosophical or psychological standpoint, there's a wealth of thought-provoking material to unpack.
So it's like she's offering a different lens through which we can view ourselves and the world around us. Whether we interpret it as the wisdom of a spirit guide or the insights of a gifted mind tapping into something larger than itself, the potential for growth and understanding is there.
And perhaps that's a key takeaway from our deep dive today. When we encounter ideas that challenge our preconceptions, it's an invitation to lean into that discomfort and explore the possibilities.
To remain open to the idea that there might be more to our existence than meets the eye.
Exactly. And who knows, maybe in that exploration, we'll discover something profound about ourselves and the interconnected nature of it all.
It's like that saying, the truth is stranger than fiction. Except in this case, we're not even sure what the truth is, but it sure is captivating. And, it makes you wonder, what would it be like to have a conversation with Joanna de Ângelis, to ask her about her experiences, her insights?
It's a tantalizing thought, isn't it? To tap into that wellspring of wisdom, to gain a broader perspective on life, death, and everything in between.
And maybe, just maybe, that's what these deep dives are all about. Maybe they're not just about uncovering information, but about opening ourselves up to possibilities, to the vastness of what we don't yet know.
It's about embracing the mystery, asking the big questions, and allowing ourselves to be transformed by the answers, or at least by the search for them.
Beautifully said. And on that note, my fellow deep divers, we've reached the end of our exploration, but the journey doesn't have to stop here. If this conversation sparked your curiosity, we encourage you to do your own research, to delve into the world of Spiritism, to explore the works of Joanna de Ângelis, and most importantly, to draw your own conclusions. Who knows what wonders you might uncover along the way? As we wrap up this deep dive, I'm left with a sense of wonder. We started with a question. Who is Joanna de Ângelis? And while we may not have definitive answers, we've uncovered a fascinating tapestry of ideas, experiences, and perspectives.
It's a journey that continues beyond this conversation, a journey that invites us to expand our understanding of consciousness, history, and the mysteries of life itself.
So as you go about your day, remember this. The world is full of stories waiting to be discovered, and sometimes the most intriguing ones reside in the places we least expect.
Stay curious, keep exploring, and perhaps in your own journey of discovery, you'll encounter your own whispers from beyond the veil.
Until next time, happy exploring.